Hello, and welcome to Rose Play at the Movies, the first installment of many where me and my wife, Shian BlueRose,
hello,
go to the movies to view video game related stuff or video game movies. Tonight, the movie that we decided to do
was Pixels.
Yes, it was. Alright, so, what's the history and the plot? The history of this movie, of how it came to be, is it was actually started as a short film.
By a
Frenchman.
Everyone thought it was from a man from Tokyo,
Some
though. That
did.
was the shocking thing.
But he made a film of the same name. It was a short movie. You should go check it out if you can find it. It was apparently really good. And so, 1492,
Happy
Madison and Sony all collaborated to
What shocked me when I heard that Sony was going to be involved with Happy Madison, you wouldn't think those two would go together.
Well, and Happy Madison, too, over the past has been hit and miss, and I swear they've been declining.
I actually want to go ahead and say this, but I think this one might actually be a hit for them.
This one might be, even though it has been getting a lot of negative reviews by others.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I think Sony probably helped and told them, you can't do this or you can't do that.
Yeah, which helps because a lot of Sam Adams things can be either really dirty at certain points, or it can be very clean cut. This one, I've noticed, has a good balance between it, where it can be funny at certain times for certain kids, but it can also be funny for the adults at the same time. It actually hits the PG just perfect.
It does, with a little PG-13 elements here.
Yeah, I agree with that. It works very well for all audiences.
So, the story basically, shortened and condensed,
is where...
or the plot, I should say, not the story, is
where
aliens pretty much invade. They invade because of
the time capsule that they receive, and they take it as a threat. And they take all the video games that they saw.
Because that's what it was a capsule of the video game tournament in 1982.
And everything else that they had in 1982, can't forget that. But they took all the video games, brought them to life by using pixels, actual pixels, and making it into a war versus video games versus mankind. Yeah, I find this very interesting.
It is, and both of them have 3 chances, because when you use an inserted coin, you had 3 lives.
And once you have those 3 lives, that's all you get. No do-overs, no replays. This is it. You gotta go. If you don't do it right, you're done.
And that's the plot. Now, on to the story. The story basically
is about a boy named Sam Brenner.
Yep, and then his best friend, Will. And they run into
a boy named
Landu or something like that, which they call him Wonder Boy. Well, Wonder Boy kind of drops out. Wonder Child. He drops out at the very beginning, like, oh, I'll be your friend, and then it's like nothing's ever seen from him for the young.
And then don't forget Eddie Plant.
Yep, and Eddie Plant, which is a complete, total tool.
Yeah, tool or jerk.
But those two, Eddie and Sam, end up coming together to fight at the finals on Donkey Kong. Needless to say,
Eddie won because Sam couldn't follow the patterns.
Yep, which Sam was very good at the patterns. Well, it skips ahead of about 30 years, and you come to find out that everybody's life
hasn't gone very far.
Yeah.
Except for Will's, which is really caught off guard because it's Kevin James. He actually goes and makes himself President of the United States.
Which is kind of expected since he was apparently good at cranes. Not really so much video games, he was more the watcher, so I guess it made sense for president there.
Yeah.
But so anyway, Sam goes to install
TV,
PlayStation 4, and some other things. And he's like, wow, is it your birthday?
No, parents are getting divorced. And he meets Lieutenant Colonel Violet Van Pattern. Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is, isn't it? So anyway, they have a moment, sort of, because she
finds out that
got cheated on by her husband.
And her husband's marrying the woman he cheated on.
A 19-year-old named Cinnamon.
With an S, let's not forget that.
That seems real stripper-esque. But so, he ends up going to the White House when he gets a call from Will telling him,
and he thinks Van Pattern's following him.
Yeah.
The entire time. He actually calls her psycho through the door and everything else. Which I swear everyone found more funny than anything.
Yeah. And so basically he goes there and he's like, does this seem familiar to you? And he's like, yeah, it's Galaga. So they're like, why are games attacking? This doesn't make any sense. At first they think it's another country. But then Wonder Child comes back out of nowhere.
And says, this is Galaga. You know what this means? The aliens are invading The aliens
and at
are
first he doesn't believe
invading.
him, so he brings him back to his place, and it's like, watch this video. I've been recording One Tree Hill because government cable. Woo! He's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's gone loopy over the years. He even wants to marry a freaking lady. What was it?
I wish I could remember. It's Lady something.
Oh,
I don't have it on the cheat sheet because really she wasn't that important. We'll get into that.
But he wants to marry a video game character.
But there's a commercial with the alien tour who, like, turning into certain celebrities like Ronald Reagan and Madonna.
Don't forget Oates.
Oh yeah, Hall & Oates, but that's later on. Mm-hmm. But they're like, we have accepted your challenge. You will have 3 lives, and if we win, we'll take your planet and destroy it. Well,
no, we'll take your planet and make it ours now.
Yeah. Regardless to say, it ensures into a battle between the aliens and us, and in the process, their pawns are the video game
And
pixels.
If we win a game, we get
a trophy.
Which is one of theirs.
Needless to say, all the group ends up coming back together, and it's a battle to see who will win. All right, so what's next on the list? Presentation, I believe?
Yeah, story.
We did stories. Or presentation.
Excuse me, presentation then.
The presentation wasn't too bad. The graphics were
good. Yes, actually, I have to say for a Happy Madison film, well, I think also Sony helped with this, but it was clean cut and very clear. You could actually make out. I didn't even. Now I wear glasses, and I have trouble seeing. And to be actually sitting there and seeing it perfectly clear without glasses is amazing.
Yeah, the graphics were great. I mean, I would actually believe that this would actually happen. It wasn't like some CG where it's completely fake or you wouldn't believe it.
Or like they're just plastering stuff on top or cutting something and just sticking in, then they're out of random. Like some of Adam Sandler's movies are. You just randomly pick something.
The presentation was very nice. At the very beginning when Sam, Adam Sandler's character, was battling Eddie, who was Peter Dinkle. Cheat sheet there. Peter.
Right here, bottom one.
Peter Dinklage, which you know from Game of Thrones.
Or if you're younger kids or younger adults, you'd know him from Elf with Will Ferrell.
Yep. But anyway, so they're battling, and of course there's 80 music all in. We'll get to that in the music, but the music's really nice. And while they're doing it, they're like showing them from the arcade, looking in, and scores and Donkey Kong, and the transitions were nice.
Sam winning like none other, and poor Will's trying so hard, but he can't get one game in there that works. He's like, screw this, I'm going to the crane game. And what do you know?
He's good. Yeah, Will's good at that. But when Peter's character and Adam Sandler's character are battling,
it's
you're like
full on rage. It's like, I'm going to beat him.
And you see Donkey Kong from the inside looking out at them, sort of, while it's playing and scores. And they do that a lot where they, like, kind of integrate, like, transitions.
Yeah, it's like, I got this much, Adam's got this much, Eddie's got this much.
But needless to say, the presentation was really good.
Yeah, I have to agree 100%.
Alright, so music, right?
Yeah. Well, from what I could tell, all the 80s music in it was really good. It was very nice.
There was a lot of 80s music.
I especially love We Will Rock You on it. That was a really good one with all the battles.
There's only one song that was not 80s.
And that was the Game Over Game
On.
Game On song. That was at the very end. It just seemed so out of place. It did not belong.
It did. I mean, don't get me wrong. The song was okay, but...
Because it was a gamer's game. But why throw it in at last minute? Why not throw it in the middle of the mix, or at the very beginning?
Or at the very beginning would have at least made sense.
Because they're going
with an 80s
each other.
Yeah, well, not just that, but the Game On was the ending credit, so at least it wasn't put into the movie per se.
Yeah, but it still just felt so out of place. Yeah. Why put it there when you know it's in?
Now, why 80s music, you may say? Why was it all 80s music?
Because most of the games, like Caterpillar, Centipede, excuse me, I'm sorry, Pac-Man, Centipede,
Hubert, were all in the 80s. Plus, it took place in the 80s.
At the beginning, and all the games were taken from the 80s arcade games. And so it only seems respectable to use 80s music in this.
And not just that, but because their best years were in the 80s, it worked.
And I noticed that they took a lot of old, famous 80s songs that you would like to hear. I know, especially, I'm a 90s kid, and I learned 80s music. I love 80s music, and the music that they picked, I find fit this movie perfect. If you didn't pick this music, I wouldn't know what to pick for this music.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done 90s, or
Not
today.
very much 90s
I'm glad
music.
they didn't.
I would not be able to respect this movie as much as I do if they used
I don't know.
this century's music, the 2000s. Because most of this music nowadays, it just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't have that good old rough feel where you actually can get down and understand what the song's really about.
Yeah.
This music actually hits you. This music makes you think, makes you work your brain.
It does. But not just that, but just the fact that it took place in the 80s. I think that's why they went with the music. If it would have happened in the 90s, they might have tried 90s music.
If they had it in this century, I expected to have it in the 2000s.
Alright, so, next on the list is characters and actors. So, we had Adam Sandler, who was playing Sam Brenner.
He, as we know...
let's get the characters out of the way first.
And then we have Kevin James, who was Will Cooper. And then we have Michelle Monaghan, who was Lieutenant Colonel Violet Van Pattern. And then Josh Ludlow Lanzoff, and Peter
Dinklage is Eddie Plant. Yeah. Adam Sandler's character
was more than likely the main character in this whole movie, as everyone knows.
More than anything.
Well, after he got done with the competition with Eddie, fast forward 30 years, he became a nerd technician for Nerdco.
He was really down to earth.
He was really down to earth. He actually made me enjoy it because he didn't joke off.
He wasn't himself like in most of his movies.
He actually was a downhearted, fully there, emotionally set right there for the show. I liked that. It took me back to some of his earlier films.
Yeah, like Click. Click I enjoy.
Or Wedding Singer, for my opinion. I like Wedding Singer. I know you don't, honey. But it's a good, because it's more of a chick flick. I know how you are.
But like Click, Happy Gilmore. There was another one I can't quite remember.
Happy Gilmore.
But anyway, and of course it's Happy Madison Productions. He always seems to take lead though. But as of late, he's been co-leading
Billy,
with
what's that one that's called where he goes back to school?
Oh, Billy Madison. That one was all right.
That one's a very good one too.
Little dirty humor though on that side. But
but
he's been sharing the screen a lot with Kevin James lately.
I've noticed that too.
As Will's character, and Will's character
is not very much a gamer. He can't game, but when you put him in front of that crane game, he's right there and he's got it.
And he is president of the United States, so that
really caught you off guard.
But other than that, his character was kind of, I guess, bland, but I think they did that on purpose.
This because they wanted to focus it mainly on the arcade people.
But, I mean, he was still a nice addition.
And then we had Michelle.
Yep, who was Violet, and
she was the one, unfortunately, who her husband went and cheated on her with Cinnamon, with an S.
Now, I know you really liked her, and I did too, but I felt like they really didn't utilize her until towards the end of the movie.
I felt they utilized her. The only reason why I say this is because right off the bat, Adam is trying to get a love connection with her, and because of that, right after it, she's following Adam through the whole movie. There's no getting away from her. And we find out she makes the weapons so Adam and the guys can save the day.
Yeah, technology can hurt the pixels because
it can make them. They get angry if you just toy with it. Like she uses a pencil on one and it just materializes it like none other. Yeah. Then she shoots it with the gun and
she does have a son, of course.
Yes, who loves Adam.
He does. Those two got a connection because he liked video games
and everything. But Adam makes a point to him. He's like, "There's no point to these video games nowadays."
They had a nice moment with that.
I like that
because he's like, "Well, you pretend that you're the character," and it does come in later.
He even says, "Well, you pretend to be the guy and you don't want to die. You want to be the guy that." Pretend to be the guy in the game that doesn't want to die. But what's the point into it? There's no pattern. There's nothing mainly to it.
Yeah, but they have a nice connection. It helps them grow, and I think it really helps both characters.
Yeah, I like it.
And then we have Ludlow. Which, like I said, he was Wonder Kid. They started him off as the 12-year-old.
And then he just disappeared. And then 30 years later, you find him in the back of Sam's nerd van.
That's how they start off, with him in the back of the van, and Adam tries to beat him.
And then he's like, "Oh, it's just..." And a ball drops out of his arm.
Like, what is that? Let me see it. It's chloroform. Dude, really?
And he's like, "You were going to drug me?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Only as a last resort."
Yeah.
And it's like...
But his character, I don't really want to...
But then they hug it out of nowhere. That made no sense.
His character starts off really scared and government afraid.
Don't forget psychotic for the freaking lady
Yeah, Lady something. I
we
don't
can remember.
But so his character does grow too. He gets confident because he was also a video game guy.
And realizes, hey, I can save the world with my skills that I know how to use. No one else can do what I can do.
The guy who played him, he did really good as this character.
Yes.
And we forgot to mention how the girl, Michelle, did as her character. And I thought she did all right.
I think she did amazing.
Like I said, I do think that they underutilized her. I know they underutilized Lady whatever. She does actually show up since she is a video game character. Yeah. But like in the last 20 minutes, and it's weird. Well, we'll leave it there. And then there was finally Peter Dinkman's character,
Eddie Plant,
which Eddie is a douchebag.
Yes, I will agree with this. He wins the game, then fast forward 30 years later, everyone's out battling. They're wondering where Eddie is.
Eddie is, and they find him in the most place that you'd expect for him. But I mean, even his younger self, his 13-year-old self, who I swear I couldn't tell if it was a kid
or a young adult
that they had him playing as, which they do eventually say that he was a kid.
We find him in jail.
Yeah, he's in jail for certain reasons.
We'll leave it at that.
But they end up getting him, and, I mean, the guy who plays him, he does good. I mean, he plays a good douchebaggery character. I mean, I'm not going to fault the character himself,
But then he starts growing a heart towards the end. You realize this because he feels bad for what he did altogether, and, well, we'll get to his reward later.
No, that'll be for them to see.
Yeah, we'll leave that for them.
Because we're trying to keep as much spoilers out as we can. But, so, I mean, Peter himself was a good actor. He played the part really well. But the character of Fire Blaster came off as a douchebag.
He was so much. And he taunts poor Sam every time he sees him.
Yeah,
when he first plays. And he's like this with, ooh, 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 ooh. Like, pick the game, pick, then I'll have the quarter. He's like, okay, I'll pick my game. Ooh, 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 every time. And it's like, give the poor guy a break.
So what's next? She dropped the cheat sheet, people.
Sorry. Let's see.
Oh, yes, the audience reaction. Well, okay, we went on a Tuesday night. So
but that was a big crowd for a Tuesday night. You have to agree with me.
I'd say about 25% of the theater was filled. Yeah. So maybe about 20
actually, people. I look back when I went out to get another drink, as you know. Literally, all the way in the back, there was almost every seat was filled, which was shocking to me.
At least in the back. I know the front seats weren't. It was just
they left that. I can understand why, though. That movie is loud.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But it's a nice loud. It at least wakes you up if you were getting bored of it.
Yeah, it's like 5 seconds in.
But so the the audience's reaction, since we actually did have one, I was afraid
there was laughter. There was
laughter here and there. I mean, it wasn't constant. It was bits and pieces, like maybe every 30 minutes or so. Past that, one person really liked the end song that we talked about.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome!" I literally hear this woman screaming in the back. It's like, "This is awesome!" And I'm like,
and it's nice. And see, Pixels is getting bad reviews. It is.
I'm shocked it's getting bad reviews, though, for how it is.
I'm iffy on it. I'll get to that when we get to the rating as to why and whatnot. But yeah, it's been getting bad reactions. But you've also got to remember that it seems like even if a movie you find is stupid nowadays, a lot of the new generation is absolutely loving and eating it up. And don't get me wrong, it's not stupid.
In my opinion, I am somewhat of the newer generation, but not so new. I'm still somewhat into the back where you are, so I understand where you're coming from at certain points.
Yeah. All right. So, next up on the list.
Let's hope I don't drop it again.
I know, right? Is final thoughts. Okay, well, we'll get into a little bit of the rating in a sense. I didn't really fully expect much from this because of Happy Madison at first. When I learned that Sony was involved, I had a little hope. And then the negative reviews started rolling in, and I'm like, oh, God, this is going to be bad. I mean, you had some review sites saying that Adam Sandler needs to retire and that the button masher of movie games, what was the last one? Retire that, and it was good in short bursts, and that may be true. It might be good in only short bursts. But like I said, there was some humor there. Oh, and we can't forget the most important part. If you guys have seen the trailer, you see the part where there's a Smurf dancing.
It's supposed to be Kevin James to kill them.
Please don't tell anybody I killed a Smurf.
Oh my God, it is not Kevin James. It is
Violet.
It is Violet. She looks at Kevin James. She looks at Kevin.
Can I have the blaster?
Can I have the blaster? Okay. He looks at, and Kevin's behind him.
She awes because the Smurf is. It's cute.
And Kevin James is like, okay, here you go. And she's just like, don't tell anyone I killed the Smurf.
Which completely surprised me because I did not personally expect
I was not. I was actually expecting Kevin James.
Yeah. But beyond that, I mean, the movie at least did good alright. If not for the fact of, as a video game movie, then as a movie itself, it was at least decent as a final thought. Is there anything you'd like to add about the movie?
I will actually say this. I will say this. We had a thunderstorm today, and I was waiting to get to the movie theater with my husband. I was literally starting to think, if this movie's getting so many bad reviews, what is the point of me going? Why would I want to go to this movie that's supposed to be so horrible? But right when I sat down and I saw how good it was already starting out, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a hit. I just have this feeling. But see, at first I'm thinking also at the same time it's not going to be that great because we only had 3 people in the back with us.
When I first got there, but I always get there like an hour early.
But then I got in, then I get up to go to the bathroom halfway through, and I look back and I'm like, whoa. Half the seats are already filled in the back, and there's still people coming in late. Oh my gosh. I have to say I like the romance bit between Sam and Violet. I love how he connects with the kid like none other.
Yeah,
he actually seems heart down to the earth kind of person in this. I love how Kevin's gets. I just am ecstatic for how Kevin acts in this. Eddie. I have no words to describe Eddie that are nice, to be honest, until the end.
And I think they did that on the purpose.
Until the end. And I will say, he actually moved me at the end. He made me feel...
A little bit. I felt it forced, though, too, sort of.
Yeah,
but he said it himself that I had to go find myself, and okay, it worked.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I'm happy for
Ludlow. He had a happy ending. We won't say what, but he does get a happy ending.
I love the creator of Pac-Man coming in.
Oh, we did forget about that. Yeah, the scene with the creator of Pac-Man coming in.
It's like,
Pac-Man is not evil. He's good deep
He's
down.
My son. He was brainwashed. He goes up, Pac-Man, my sweet little boy. And then he's not expecting him to bite him. He just puts his hand up here and then... kill this stupid thing.
Yeah, that was what it was. But so that's our final thoughts. It was good enough.
Yeah, I love it.
As for a rating... I'm going to give it a 7.5 to 8. I mean, a little higher than what, like, Rotten Tomato and other sites are giving it. The reason why I'm giving it 7.5 to 8 is
You're
good.
You're a gamer.
And, yes, that sort of is
You even admitted it. That's where it's getting a little leeway.
Maybe not. Is it, as a video game movie, is it good? As just a normal movie where it's like aliens doing something different than what most aliens do.
I don't think it was cool.
That was a nice plot, and for the most part, it worked. What really gives it the 7.5 to 8 for me is the presentation and the music. Even if I am an 80s kid, I did like the music. The story, like I said, also helped with that. The characters were hit or misses, but a 7.5 to 8 is not bad. I would personally recommend going to see it if you are a big video game fan. You may hate it. You may like it, but in general, I mean, it's at least better than some of his later works. How about you? What would you give it?
Honestly, for a person who's seen a Happy Madison films the most in her life, and to not be the biggest gamer, I will admit this, I'm not a very big gamer, but I do play games. I give this actually a 9.0. Clean cut. The reason why I love the music, the characters actually seem well-grounded, but a little forced. I can agree with that. The music is awesome.
Yeah,
I agree with it, except for that last song.
It was decent.
Funny. It's funny. It's romantic. It's got heartfelt into it. This is just a movie you've got to take your kids to see. And let me finish. And before I even forget this is like a movie would even take our son to if he was old enough, to be honest. Even if you're not a gamer, I will say this directly to you. Even if you are not a gamer, this is a movie you must go see. It is a perfect that equal out anything I've ever seen of Happy Madison. This actually gets my top 5. I will agree with this. I'm not a very
I will
big
say
gamers
Click
movie.
probably is still number 1 for me, though.
This is actually hit my second. Wedding Singer will
Second?
always be my first. You know this, honey. But literally, this is a song. This is a movie, excuse me, that hit me. I love it. I could not agree with this any more than I already do.
And that's good. And another reason why I think I like
I
it,
love
nostalgic. It had a nostalgic feel to it.
But it's kind of funny that I know you're an 80s kid, and you've got more into this that you would relate to, and I would think you would rate this better, but for some reason, but I'm coming from this from a innocent, as you would put it, mind, who doesn't know as much.
And I'm going from a mixture of, what if it was a normal movie, what if it was a game movie, and that's kind of where...
And that's what I'm going through, too, but I'm also thinking of kids, adults, and all.
No, kids will probably absolutely love this, even if they don't know who the characters are.
Oh, I have no doubt.
But the movie did feel like an 80s movie, and a lot of 80s movies were good, if not cheesy. But the cheesiness made them good.
That's what makes it so great.
Like RoboCop. And
oh my god.
I mean, I don't mean to bring RoboCop up in this, and I know we're running out of time, but RoboCop 1 and 2 were good because they were cheesy.
If it wasn't for the cheesiness, it just felt so...
Because then with 3 they tried, and the movie failed. So maybe that's another reason why we like it so much. Is it's kind of cheesy, but in a good way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I have to say, if you haven't seen Pixels, go out and see it. Let us know what you think of it.
Yeah, leave us a comment. Share this video, like and subscribe to the channel for me.
I'll be on later on with him for more movies.
Yep, more movies reviews. She might be in a Let's Play here and there.
Let me know how you feel about it. I'd be happy to give you a comment back for you. Just let us know.
Yep. And so that pretty much wraps it up for the first episode of Rose Play at the Movies. The next one we should be going to go see is Hitman. I don't know of any other movie that's coming out before then.
I will actually be looking up movies later on to see what's coming out next, and I will list some suggestions for you all that you might like us to see us play.
That's if there's multiple movies and games too.
And if there are ones you want us to, leave us a comment below too.
But I'm glad you guys decided to come and watch this.
But if there's a game too that you'd like to see me or Matt or both of us play, let us know, and we'll be up.
And so, come back for Season 1, Episode 15. I even forgot to mention that this was 14. But come back for 15, Episode 15 of Rose Play, where I will be doing a rant about free-to-play games.
Oh, I thought it was your...
No, next is D4 anyway for a Let's Play.
Oh, that one's going to be interesting.
It will be. So until next time, remember, keep gaming and never give up.